All right, guys, so welcome to another episode of the Imperfectly Perfect podcast. Today, following on from my amazing run of fellow Brits coming onto the show, I've got an incredible guest. So, as I always do, talk about a short bio and then get into those questions. So, Jamelia Davis, an English singer, songwriter, and television presenter. She's released 3 studio albums, each of which has reached top 40 in the UK, which collectively have spawned 8 UK top 10 singles. In addition, has won 4 Mobo Awards, a Q Award, and has received 9 Brit Award nominations. A successful career span has led her to becoming a judge on shows such as Move Like Michael Jackson. The filmography also includes her own TV documentaries, including Jamelia, Whose Hair Is It Anyway?, her own edition of the popular Channel 4 show, The House That Made Me, and her own BBC 3 documentary, Jamelia, Shame About Single Moms. In 2010, she signed a new record deal with All Around the World Productions and has been a much-loved panellist on the ITV show Loose Women. So firstly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm like listening, I'm like, did I do all of that? It just sounds a bit like, what? But yeah.
You know what I always think though, like this campaign is about really just breaking down barriers and bringing everybody to show that COVID's showing us that obviously mental health, that this pandemic does not discriminate, neither does mental health or knowing about humanity. So what I like to do is, I always do my due diligence, and of course I know you from listening to your music a long time when I was in the UK, and I'll just tell you my favourite one and the video, Money Doesn't Buy Your Love. Like that.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's like operatic with R&B.
Yeah. That's my favourite too, by the way, so yeah.
But yeah, I love to know, because I've obviously seen you grow up and through the music career, but who's Jamelia behind the public persona where everyone thinks they know her?
Yeah. It's really funny because I think that that's such it's a huge question, because Jamelia behind the scenes has changed so many times. Even up to today, I was speaking to my husband and I was like, even who I was a year ago is totally different to who I am today. But what I will say is that particularly living a life of, it's kind of like a dual life, like having 2 lives, kind of living them both at the same time. So if I kind of start like my upbringing, I was raised in like a Rastafarian household. So my culture was very much about, I don't know, it was about peace. It was about social consciousness. It was about, being one with each other and caring, and which, I'm not sure how much people really know about Rastafarianism, but it is a religion that really does promote community. And so that was something that was kind of embedded in me from I was born. And I grew up in inner city Birmingham to see a single mother. And I had 2 more younger brothers while, as a child. And then I signed my record deal when I was 15. And I always describe it as like being like literally a dream, but not like, oh my gosh, I've dreamed of this and it's coming true. Just like, this can't possibly be real. This can't possibly be happening to me. And I don't think I've ever gotten used to the things that I have achieved publicly, or, in that kind of, in the public eye. I don't think I've ever got, even listening to you read my bio, I'm like, bloody hell. All right, okay, oh yeah, that was me, that that he is talking about me. But I feel that I've had to kind of carve out 2 different, I'm ever so sorry, my 2-year-old has popped. It's okay. True. You have to go. All right, do you want to say hello quickly? Say hello.
Hey,
say hello.
You.
Say hello. Okay, say bye-bye now. Please don't come back here. Mommy's, it's okay to me. Just go. My elder daughter was so apologetic. She's like, I'm so sorry. But isn't this just the norm now? Like, kids running in, like, we're all working from home.
That's why I call this podcast, it's Imperfectly Perfect. There's no right
there
or
we
wrong.
go.
It's funny that your eldest there just apologised, because I've got my son looking after my 2-year-old daughter in the other room.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Super quiet dad. And I'm like, good boy.
Yeah, bless. I can't even remember where I was. Well, yeah, I think I was talking about kind of like the duality of my life, I guess. And one of the things that I've always held on to was a kind of a separation. So I was born and raised in Birmingham, and I always made a point of never leaving Birmingham, always having my base or my home in Birmingham. And because I'm not sure how much you know about the entertainment industry, but everything takes place in London. Like everything, if you want to do anything, be anybody, you've got to go to London. And so I was able to kind of leave Birmingham and be Jamelia, the pop star, quote unquote, and then come back to Birmingham and just be Jem, you know, that everyone calls me Jem. And that's, and I was very, very fortunate to have had, or to be able to experience both at the same time. And I know I'm speaking a lot in past tense, but I feel that things have really changed for me. I went into the TV industry, and that was, I can only describe that as a baptism of fire. I think what I realized was that I was loved and liked when I was entertaining people, but not so much as me, as a person who I actually am, which is a Black British woman from the UK. And that, I don't know if a baptism of fire is the right thing, or it was a rude awakening, actually. I would more describe it as, and that was the beginning of my the negative side of my experience in the entertainment industry, and the beginning of, I would say, my mental health issues. It was kind of like having that kind of realization, like, if I'm entertaining you, it's fine, but just don't talk, don't be anything other than, you know, a performer. And that was really a really hard pill to swallow. And as I said, the reason why I'm speaking in past tense is because the past few years I've been fortunate enough to take a few steps back, and I've been okay. You know, I'm financially okay, emotionally okay, and I think that's the most important thing, that my emotional side has been much better since taking a step back and taking matters into my own hands, as it were. So I've had to sacrifice my career that I absolutely loved for my mental health. And so now, this person that I am behind the scenes, I feel that I am authentically me. I feel that I can be honest. I can be my full self. I can exist as an entire entity. I don't have to split my personality. I don't have to be this in that place and this in this place. I can be myself at all times. And that makes me happier. I don't have as much money in the bank, but I'm so much happier. And I still feel capable. I still feel ambitious. So I don't know if that essentially answers your question, but I had to kind of take you through the different, you know, evolutions of Jamelia.
It's funny you say that, and I know some of my listeners have heard this before, but even listening to you say that about the evolution of Jamelia, and you were speaking to your husband about it, it was put to me when I thought, and some of my listeners will be laughing going, oh, he's going to say it again, but it's so profound in going, we are constantly changing and evolving, that when we suddenly think we've found our purpose, which I thought it was through this campaign, it's actually part and parcel is a job that you love or service of others, but the other is constantly learning about ourselves. So we're never going to be the person who was yesterday. And what you said there about the finances and where you are, it was also put to me as well. The quickest way to raise your vibration and your audience, the like attract like, is to step into your truth.
So true.
So
true. It's so true.
yeah, we might not be where we are financially or once were and stuff like that, but if that happiness comes and your mental clarity and mental health, like that's the main thing. But through
Well,
everything, go on, sorry.
sorry, I was just going to say, but I think this is important. A lot of us, because you have to understand, most of us have not had, obscene wealth or had, obscene amounts of money thrown at us. And so we kind of covet it, and we're so attracted to particularly money. But I can say, as someone who has been, I mean, I haven't had, I wouldn't say obscene wealth. I'm not like, a billionaire, or I've never been one, but I have been a multi-millionaire. And I can tell you that was the most, it was the worst portion of my life. It was, it didn't bring me happiness. And so, whilst I might be working with a different number in the bank, I can't explain it. It's like, as you said, it's like a vibration. It's like, I've never gone without, when we've never starved, we've never, despite me. And it was one thing that I thought, who will I be without money? Who can I be if I'm not super rich? Only to find that, oh my gosh, I'm such a better version of myself. I would much rather be this version of me without stupid wealth. And it's kind of like, and it kind of makes you ask yourself questions like, well, how much money do you actually need? Like, what do you actually need? What are the things that you need? And whilst I will never describe myself as a minimalist, it definitely appeals to me, because I think, yeah, I'd love to get rid of things. And every time I have kind of, I don't know, say you might have a clear out or something like that, or give to charity or give to a friend, it's like you get back something so much more and so much more fulfilling, and zeros in the bank could never provide that for me. And sorry, I don't want to sound like some, do you know what I mean, like I don't know, a crazy monk or something, but I can only speak from the evidence that I have. And it's like, we are rich beyond our wildest dreams, and it's got nothing to do with money. And that's exactly how I feel. And for me, it's kind of like the pursuit of more of that. I want more of that kind of, that purposeful, mission-led. I don't even have the words for it, but I know what it feels like, because I know I've felt it even during the pandemic. Again, having to work with less makes you actually appreciate so much more. And I've come to the realization that, oh my gosh, I didn't even need what I thought I needed before the pandemic hit. And now I'm like, I want even less. I want less things, because I gain more out. I gain more out of that. It's not the things that are bringing me joy. It's the people, it's the conversations, it's the connections, it's the realizations, it's the growth, it's the evolution. Sorry, I don't know who I think I am right now, but I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I do. I love it, and I think it encapsulates all that. It's experiences, isn't it, over materialistic things.
Absolutely.
And what I've noticed, maybe it's my empathetic side, when I went through my depression and I lost a friend to suicide, and when people turn adversity into something positive and they realize this sort of stuff, every person, and I'm very grateful for coming on this podcast or this campaign, and you're all so successful, but you've all been through adversity, and you've turned it, you've come to this realization that monetary or materialistic stuff just don't, it's experiences. So for me, ramble on all day, mate. Like, I love it. I love it. But one thing I picked up on there is, there are quite a lot of people within the entertainment industry as well that listen to this podcast. So for anybody, and especially in the sporting industry, because I moved into that as well, to show every kind of industry that we're all just human, what you guys go through within that industry. And I always take my hat off to you all, because I'm like, I've never wanted to be in the industry, but what I've seen and got to know a lot of you guys from it, I'm like, whoa, like, yeah, keep me away. What do you, or from your experience, could you say to anybody that sees these highlight reels and think that's their life. And for anyone who is in that, who thinks that makes them as a person, you've stepped away from it and you've found all this, no, I'm more than just Jamelia, who people know me for. What would you say to anyone that thinks, I can't drop this career because what am I without it?
I think even that as an idea, what am I without? What am I without this? Because a career in the public eye is yet another thing. And I think for me, success, a thing is always an is external. And to me, success, true success is, when people ask you like, oh, when they say to people, how do you sleep at night? And like, do you sleep well? Do you wake up and are you, happy with who you've woken up to be, or who you are beside, who you are in contact with? I think what we can do is we idolize being in the public eye and fame and celebrity, because I understand that it's rare, or it's, we build celebrities up to be special. And for me, I don't think they are. I just think they're chosen for a reason. I think that I was chosen to do a job, but to go on this journey as well. I had to have that to become who I am now. And I am someone who is unafraid to be loud, unafraid to make people uncomfortable. I will always tell the truth. And I would not have done that or been that had I not had this experience. And the thing is I'm really reluctant to call it a career, as much as I've had an amazing experience, and it really was fantastic. I got to travel, and I think that was probably the number one thing that I got out of it. But again, through traveling, I got to learn, and through learning, I learned about different people and different cultures. And as I said, growing up in a Rastafarian household, we're all about community. And I learned that the world is my community, that it's not just about your immediate community. And so for me, it's more about questioning why you want that thing. I never, ever wanted to be famous. I've never wanted to be a celebrity. That was not the thing. And I believe that's why it happened. All I was doing was something that I was truly passionate about. I loved to sing. I loved to perform. I loved to meet people. But that being said, with every high, there has to be a counteracting opposite end of the spectrum. And for me, it was too great. It was too great to live with. And so you have to make a choice, and there is a choice to be made. There is a choice to be made. There are so many. I mean, I met so many celebrities or super rich people that was so sad and so insecure, and so, you just felt so sorry for them. And I just thought, I don't want to become that. Hence why it was kind of like, okay, well, as you said, I'm going to live my truth. I'm going to be who I am, and I have to be willing to let the chips fall where they may. So if you want to, what I do love about now, about 2020, or about the period of time we live in now, is that authenticity seems to be something that can also be lucrative. And I don't know if lucrative is the right word, but you can be famous for being authentic. And I like that. That's a thing, because back when I was, super famous, it wasn't, I had to play a character at all times. And, up until about 5 years ago, I was continuing to play a character. And I just thought, one day I was just like, no. And I think but again, if you're being authentic, you're not you're not aiming for celebrity and you're not aiming for fame. And I think wanting to be famous and idolizing anyone who is a big mistake. Yeah, a really big mistake.
Yeah. And attributing to what you were saying there with the campaign, what my main aim is, because I've got kids and I know you've got kids, you're just saying 3 kids, yeah. Which is a lot.
Yeah.
Is to build a legacy, to really surpass time in, because I always say, we can build awareness, but our age group, I'm 36 now, and the stigma's there. We can change it but what I'm trying to do is actually globally, which is an audacious goal, is change the culture around it, the narrative, because our kids, they don't look at monetary, they don't look at color, they don't look at creed, they don't look at, whereas we're conditioned by external things that have brought everyone up into this. So COVID for me actually is a time where we're having to look inside and actually, like, and some people can't face that, can they? It's like, oh, I need to, I was like, woo. But when you did transition out of kind of the limelight in respect of singing, and then went in and voiced your opinion on Loose Women and things, and said that that's where you saw a different side of people, how was that? Because you said that was the start of kind of your mental health struggles. How was that to see people perceive you in a different light just because you voiced your opinion?
So I think it's rather than this, I think this is the thing. It wasn't necessarily a disagreement with my point of view. It was a disagreement with the complaints that I used to get, was the fact that I had the audacity to voice such a point of view when I should feel lucky that I've been let in. For me, it was so incredibly hurtful, because I love my job. I love public speaking. It was my dream to kind of get on Loose Women and to become one. And to have the audience receive me in that way was really shocking. I think it was really shocking and really hurtful, and really I was very surprised. And it sounds crazy again now, from who I am now, but I just wasn't paying attention to my environment. I was a top singer, and I think I was like in a bubble of reality. So my reality was everybody was lovely. I love everyone, and everyone loves me, and the world is great. And then to have that kind of complete opposite reaction, and it was, and as I said, it was I would say something that maybe my white counterpart would say exactly the same thing. I would get treated differently by the media, by people in the street. And I was just like, but what did I do? And I was so confused. I couldn't make sense of it. And then you kind of have to look around and like, well, the only thing is because I'm black, but how could that be? How can it be that? Like, we live in a multicultural society. Again, I grew up in Birmingham. Birmingham is the most multicultural city in the UK. I think in Europe, actually. And so,
can I just say, the only time that you say Birmingham, you go back into full Brummie accent. It sounds very Brummie until she says the word Birmingham.
Birmingham. And can I just say, I'm a very, very proud Brummie. I just think all of my traveling has kind of like, I don't know, done away with my accent, but yeah. But growing up in Birmingham, you get, and I think it's like a full sense of security. So, I grew up in a very multicultural, I was around every, color, creed, sexuality. It was beautiful. And I believed the world to be like that, because I went into an industry where everyone's, for want of a better term, kissing your ass. So it was just kind of like, everyone's lovely, everyone loves me, everyone gets on. And then it was kind of like, it was really awful to kind of, I don't know, it's like, finding out Santa's not real or something. You're like, oh, okay, like literally. And then it was, so again, it was kind of, well, what do you do with this? What can you do with this? And for me, I'm a bit of a fighter. I hate injustice. I hate ill treatment. I hate bullying. And so I just thought, well, I'm going to show up again tomorrow, and I'm going to show up again the next day, and I'm going to be here until I can't be here anymore. And you are going to see me, and you're going to hear me. But what happens then is you're in a constant state of battle. You know, at all times I was in a state of battle. And I think also as well, behind the scenes, the turmoil that I was going through wasn't really understood. Behind the scenes aren't very multicultural, so there was no understanding of why it would affect me, or why something should be done, why we should be talking about this. It was very much, well, we can't really talk about racism because, you know, and it was like, no, I don't know, because, you know, it's an issue, but we should. And then I think it kind of, the end of my loose women time kind of came, I think we just basically all came up with the same decision at the same time. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And they were like, you know, the audience can't stand you really. so it was like, okay, well, you know, take care. But then I think kind of like after that now, you're kind of thrown into a different territory, because it's like, well, I'm not fun, or I'm not liked. So what do I do now? And I think that has been my last 5 years, discovering who I am without the thing. Because even though I say that I lived, you know, a life of duality, they were still both my life. And now it was like one half of me I had to live without and kind of fill that void. But I had to fill that void with myself. And what came about was that it had to be my authentic self. But it's not just about authenticity. It's actually about acknowledging the trauma that I suffered, and acknowledging what was wrong about it, why it affected me. And I think a large part of it was I was ignorant. As I said, I didn't, if you had asked me 10 years ago, like, is Britain, you know, is there racism in Britain? I'd be like, no, absolutely not. But like now it's kind of like, well, we have to acknowledge that there is, in order to solve it, in order to, you know, not get over it, but yet to resolve it. And I think, and that's kind of, that became a passion of mine for quite a while, you know, being a spokesperson for fairness. But again, then it's kind of like, hold on, my mental health is seriously suffering in the midst of all of this. And then it was, so over the last 2 years, I would say it's been, okay, it's me first. I've got to look out for me. So even when I was diagnosed with depression about 10 years ago now, but I didn't know what it came from. I didn't know that I was undergoing trauma. And so I started having counseling. I started also being very outspoken about it, because one of the things that I realized, and I realized this very early on, when I released a song called Thank You, which was about a domestically abusive relationship that I had, I'm telling you, when I wrote that song, I literally thought I was the only person in the world who had ever been through anything like that. And I just wrote the song as a kind of form of therapy. And then, I mean, the amount of people, that song went to number 2 in the UK, it did really well in Australia as well. And I remember just being astounded at the amount of people who told me, and continue to tell me, should I say, even up to yesterday, someone told me on TikTok, like, you know, I really relate to Thank You, and, you know, for the worst reasons, but, you know, I really appreciate the song. And it's just like, to open that kind of conversation for me was very powerful. And so again, not just as a singer, but as a voice and as an advocate, I've recognized the power in using my voice and talking my truth and saying the ugly truth, you know. And that can go from, you know, I've been in a domestically abusive relationship to I suffer with depression. I've had postpartum depression. I have a counselor. I go to therapy. You know, to some people, these things are ugly truths and they would rather not hear them because it makes us feel uncomfortable. But for me, it's like, the longer we feel uncomfortable, the longer that we allow these things to remain stigmas, the longer they go unresolved. And you mentioned your children earlier, and this is a thing in my house. Mental health is spoken about on a daily basis. You know, from I have a 19-year-old and I have a 2-year-old, and we, you know, my husband, I've got a 15-year-old as well, and we all will talk about our mental health in the same way. Oh, my leg's hurting today. You know, I'm not feeling okay today. I think I might need to talk. Could we arrange a session with our therapist? We have family therapy, couples therapy, individual therapy. And for me, it's a non-negotiable. We are not sweeping it under the carpet. We are not pretending that we're not, you know, suffering in different ways and it's not just, to me as well, mental health is not just about suffering. Sometimes it's just like my husband and I, we have a fantastic relationship, but we still have couples counseling because it's just good. You know, it's like, it's not something that we do all the time, but it's like a little check-in. And it really helps us. It helps us to communicate. We are committed to communicating well and communicating with each other and making sure that nothing gets swept under the carpet. And as I said, with the children, my 2-year-old, you know, she has a calm corner. She doesn't get in trouble. We talk about our feelings. What are you feeling right now? Why are you angry? You know, it's okay to be angry. You know, oh, I totally understand. Tell me more about it. And, you know, my mum thinks I'm crazy. You know, but for me, it's kind of like, I get it. And I get that you don't understand, but this is us and this is how we're going to do it. And I want my children to feel free enough to be free about their mental health. And it's not a stigma in our house. And, you know, you said earlier that, you know, you want to solve it globally. It's not a ridiculous ambition. It's absolutely possible. And you are doing it. You're in Australia. I'm in England. That's global. You know what I mean? And I think it's really important that we never underestimate our powers as individuals. One person can do a whole lot of things. And if you and I have households where mental health is allowed to be spoken about freely and we are open with our children, then that's 5 kids, that's 5 people that we're putting out into the world who are going to do that with their families. And I think, you know, that's world changing to me. It really is.
You know what? I actually love these conversations because you learn so much wisdom from other people, so much, and even little you don't think of, it comes in. But with that, you were saying there, just the impact that you can have at the home. And one of my things is, like you mentioned about your mum there, she doesn't understand it because of probably her upbringing and it wasn't spoken about. And that's why, hey, with this campaign, what I'm trying to do is culturally make a cultural change, because unless we actually change it from like right at the root level, and that's why I'm doing visual mediums and literature and music, because it's the oldest form of communication. We resonate with it. Like everybody's trying to do all this like fancy stuff, and I'm like, take it back down to the bare essentials.
Exactly. Let's just talk to each other.
And I keep on saying to people, like, if you mention your mum, and I know when I was doing it, my mum said the same thing. Like, she's seen me push it, and she's like, how far are you going to keep going? Like, are you just not happy? And then she lost a friend, sadly, a few months ago to suicide. And she called me. She was like, now I understand. because
Yeah.
and I think sometimes it takes that for people to suddenly go, oh shit, like, and I always say that's one of my things. I go, how would you champion your brother, your mother, your sister, your father if they were going through it? So I love that what you do with your family, but I know it's getting on over there and you've got your family waiting around for you. I've got one last question for you, Jamelia. Out of everything, with the campaign being called Imperfectly Perfect, what does being imperfectly perfect mean to you?
To me, I think it's being honest. I think it's being honest and allowing everyone around you to be honest. We're all weird. We're all a bit quirky, and that's beautiful. Like, let's celebrate that. Let's, you know, I like my daughters, my older two daughters. They're absolute weirdos, and we love it. And I implore them to go out into the world and be exactly who you are, and who is it? Dr. Seuss who said, "Those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter." And that's exactly how I want, you know, my children and myself, because even myself, as of my explanation, you know, I've only kind of come into my own in the last few years. So even me, I'm just like, I'm only just enjoying being authentically me. But for me, but the best thing we can do now that we know is to pass these messages or these lessons on to our children. And from the jump, you be exactly who you are. You be an absolute weirdo, and you know, and maybe, and I don't know. I don't think I don't even think there's such a thing as a weirdo. It's just, are you honest? Are you allowing yourself to be honest? And yeah, I think being imperfectly perfect is beautiful. And and I'm a champion. I'm definitely one of those. I'm sure you can tell from this convo.
But you know what? I've enjoyed this call. Like I said, I've been speaking to so many fellow Brits lately, and you even talking there, and you're going, like, some people might not get it, but weirdos, it's just a friendly term, a phrase that you say in the UK.
Yes, sorry, yes.
And I was speaking to Michelle Heaton, was on yesterday. I was speaking
to her. I love Michelle.
Oh, she's awesome. And she basically said, I said to the question to her, and she was like, yeah, sometimes we just basically shit. I was like, we're just shit. And I was like, yeah, because when I first came to Australia, there was the whole notion of somebody had called my name and they'd be like, Glenn. And I'd be like, what? And they'd be like, oh. And I'd be like, what do you want? And they'd be like, you're a bit stand-up. And I was like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And I said, what are you supposed to say? And they're like, pardon. I'm like, Jamelia, pardon? It doesn't.
Pardon? What?
Right. So I'm like, no. I'll stick to my what.
Yeah.
I just want to say, on behalf of the campaign and behalf of me, thank you for everything. Where can people find out more about you, and what are you up to next?
So you can find me on Instagram at official Jamelia. I'm on YouTube, trying to do YouTube videos. I upload like 10 and then none for like a month. But anyway, I'm on YouTube at jamelia.com. I'm actually planning like a little live event for the run up to Christmas, so that should be fun. What else am I doing?
TikTok, you mentioned.
I've said it again.
TikTok? Did you mention TikTok?
Oh, TikTok. Yeah, I'm on TikTok as well. But my TikTok, TikTok, I'm not that good on there, but that's jamelia.com as well. And what else? And on my YouTube, I've got like a TV show. It's like, so I created like my own Loose Women for Black women. And it is really fun. So yeah, I've got that. What else? That's it really. But yeah, follow me on those and I'll tell you what I'm up to. But Glenn, can I just say, like, thank you so much for having me. And I think what you're doing is incredible. And please never ever again say that, you know, this ambition is a world ambition. It's completely doable. And also, like, what would you say to your son if he said that to you? Like, you know what you'd say. So don't say it to yourself. You know what I mean? Don't say anything negative to yourself. It's completely doable. And as I said, you're already doing it. You're already doing it, and you know, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll just finish off and tell you, TikTok, I just got on there recently, and
Okay.
the views have been going up, up and up, and people have been going, what are you doing? I'm like, I haven't got a bloody clue. Something's happened. Like, everybody's like, algorithms, all this. And I said, when I started this campaign and this podcast started, everybody was like, how have you done this? And it got picked up by iHeartRadio. I'm like, I had my laptop, I got GarageBand, and I pressed play.
I love it. I love it. Listen, and that's the thing, like, I think a lot of people don't think TikTok is for like us 80s babies. I'm going to be 40 in January, but I don't care. I'm here to stay. So it's similar to Loose Women. I'm here and you're going to see me and I'm going to do my dances and whatever.
Well, mate, I'll let you get back to your family. I appreciate your time.
Thank you
very much. And for guys listening to Imperfectly Perfect, simply subscribe, share, and like on Spotify, iHeartRadio. I'll put all the links up to Jamelia. And just keep having those hard conversations and let's change the culture together.